Hello there. So nice to have you here on a night like this when we can share a dream like I had at Quincy College as the night grows late. Sense of community was and is the light of the world. Won't you join us? You can offer a work meets faith small group discussion which will build a sense of community among your friends. If you are not yet having a small group discussion, answer the discussion questions on your own privately now. Discussion questions. Discussion group 0. Good experiences, yeah. Sharing questions. Can you think of an experience that you have had that was very good for yourself, something no one could ever take away from you or convince you was not good for you? This is subjective. What others think of the experience is irrelevant. Please share your experience. Now that you have shared your experience, question 2. Did the experience go for or against doing that which was truly in the best interests of others? Question 3. Did the experience go for or against attaining a goal or other end not necessarily preconceived as a goal, but which became a goal once experienced? Question 4. Did the experience go for or against operating in an area of meaningful expansion for yourself? Now that you have answered the discussion questions, let's see what academic research tells us about your good experience. This video covers academic research validating natural law of intrinsic psychological needs. It is a natural law that all human beings are born with feelings. Our feelings tell us if we are on target or off target as a human being. Feelings are hardwired into the human chassis. As a computer analogy, feelings become part of our operating system. Loquate, a community for peace, has done research on primary values that affect our feelings. Academic research supports the validity of each primary value and calls them intrinsic psychological needs. The first primary value is doing that which is truly in the best interests of others. The second primary value is attaining a goal. The third primary value is operating in an area of meaningful expansion for yourself. That is, your interiorly preferred work. Applying academic research to the first primary value, doing that which is truly in the best interests of others, psychologists use terms called agency and relatedness. Dr. Albert Bandura of Stanford University said agency is the sense that I did that. The proactive desire to create, manipulate, influence, and transform the environment that one is in so to improve it in some way. Bard, Deasy, and Ryan in 1998 showed that employees' experiences of satisfaction of the needs for autonomy, competence, and relatedness in the workplace predicted their performance and well-being at work. Doing that which is truly in the best interests of others increases environmental improvement and enhances relatedness with those in the environment. Academic research says this about the second primary value, attaining goals. Eric H. Kessler of Pace University said, "The roots of goal-setting theory lie in biology. An organism's survival is conditional on its fulfilling its needs, fulfilling goals." Close to 400 studies were conducted by many researchers over a period of some 25 years before the findings were integrated into an actual theory in 1990. Goal-setting theory has been rated as the most important and valid theory in organizational behavior and industrial organizational psychology. It is widely taught in university courses and appears in virtually all organizational behavior and industrial and organizational psychology textbooks. The third primary value is operating in an area of meaningful expansion for yourself. Operating in an area of meaningful expansion for yourself relates to one's belief in one's ability to succeed in specific situations, what academic research calls self-efficacy. Dr. Albert Bandura, Stanford University, said, "One's sense of self-efficacy can play a major role in how one approaches goals, tasks, and challenges." Since Bandura published his seminal 1977 paper, the subject has become one of the most studied subjects in psychology. Edwin A. Locke, University of Maryland, and Gary P. Latham, University of Michigan, published in Psychological Science an article cited by 748. After decades of research, it is now possible to offer a coherent, data-based theory of work motivation and job satisfaction. If high challenge is accompanied by high expectancy of success or self-efficacy, high performance results, given that there is commitment to the goals, feedback, adequate ability, and low situational constraints. In summary, Richard M. Ryan and Edward L. Deasy, both of the University of Rochester, published in American Psychologist, cited by 14,168. The findings have led to the postulate of three innate psychological needs: competence, autonomy, and relatedness, which when satisfied yield enhanced self-motivation and mental health, and when thwarted lead to diminished motivation and well-being. In summary, natural law supports the three primary values: relatedness, doing that which is truly in the best interests of others; competence, attaining a goal; and autonomy, operating in an area of meaningful expansion for ourselves. The natural law, or rule, is this: if one or more of the values is present and the experience does not go against any of the other values, you will feel good. If the experience goes against one or more of the values, you will feel bad. The truth of primary values in Scripture. Any person can self-validate as a basic human right, the right to fulfill the innate psychological needs validated by academic research, defined as going for primary values. Can you find Scripture from your religion that supports the primary values that fulfill innate psychological needs put into us by our Creator? Primary value number 1, doing that which is truly in the best interests of others. Luke chapter 6, verse 31. Do to others as you would have them do to you. John 15:12. This is my commandment, love one another as I love you. Leviticus 19:18. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. Proverbs 10:12. Hatred stirs up disputes, but love covers all offenses. Buddha. Hatred does not cease through hatred at any time. Hatred ceases through love. This is an unalterable law. Buddha. Have compassion for all things, rich and poor alike. Each has their suffering. Some suffer too much, others too little. Hindu, Yajur Veda. May we resolve to dedicate our life to the service of humankind and uplift them to divinity. Primary value number 2, to work, attaining a goal or other end not necessarily preconceived as a goal, but which becomes a goal once experienced. John chapter 5, verse 17. My Father is at work until now, so I am at work. Philippians 4:11. Not that I say this because of need, for I have learned in whatever situation I find myself to be self-sufficient. Genesis 2:15. The Lord God then took the man and settled him in the Garden of Eden to cultivate and care for it. Psalm 90:17. Prosper the work of our hands. Buddha.
However many holy words you read, however many you speak, what good will they do you if you do not act upon them? Buddha. An idea that is developed and put into action is more important than an idea that exists only as an idea. Hindu, Rig Veda. The experience of unity is the fulfillment of human endeavors. Primary value number 3, operating in an area of meaningful expansion for yourself. Colossians chapter 3, verse 23. Whatever you do, do from the heart, as for the Lord and not for others. Ephesians 4, verses 1 through 3. I then, a prisoner for the Lord, urge you to live in a manner worthy of the call you have received, with all humility and gentleness, with patience, bearing with one another through love, striving to preserve the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3. For the vision is a witness for the appointed time, a testimony to the end. It will not disappoint. If it delays, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not be late. Jeremiah 29:11. For I know well the plans I have in mind for you, oracle of the Lord, plans for your welfare and not for your woe, so as to give you a future of hope. Buddha. Your work is to discover your work, and then with all your heart to give yourself to it. Buddha. You cannot travel the path until you have become the path itself. Hindu, Rig Veda. One who kindles the light of awareness within gets true light. The Old Testament, shared by followers of the Muslim Quran, as indicated in the Bible quotes above, may imply endorsement of the primary values. Part 3. Now let's apply this research to everyday life. Code is the identity experience we take on. For example, let's say at Hospital A, Code 1 had a specific meaning to doctors, nurses, and staff. For example, a patient is dying. Each member of the team takes on their role. Each team member quickly jumps into their role because of code. They think fast because of code. Another term for code is norms. A norm is an expected form of behavior from a group member in order to stay a member of that group. Everyone has code. Code is hardwired deep into our system for survival. The problem is that code can be good or bad. Back at Quincy College, I wondered what made a leader. I knew I was not a leader. I wanted to be close to leaders just to understand them. So I became involved in student activities and with those I saw as leaders. As an observer, some leaders could be good or bad, or good and bad at different times. Obviously, good code or bad code may be placed on a child early on in a family setting. Membership in a family is survival. Membership as a youth in a group is survival, whether it be drug or gang member or house of worship. Membership in a group as an adult in a horrific war setting is survival. What if Hospital A policy suddenly mandated its doctors in a Code 1 to not respond to any patient over 90 and save lives only for patients under 90? The team member would still have a check or control or feedback loop. Their feelings. They would immediately know if they felt good or bad about the new code. If code goes against satisfying innate psychological needs, you will feel bad. Checking bad code for primary values is rudimentary and available to all thanks to the academic research noted above. Breaking down the bad code may be done in relation to the primary values from Loquate to determine precisely the reason why you feel the way you do. Part 4, Spiritual Roots.
Helping another accomplish that which they value the most for the common good is extreme value. The intended outcome is greater happiness and joy for you and greater sense of community for all of the groups of which you are a part. Getting closer to the spiritual roots of that which you value the most can be an interfaith exercise with friends. For some, like an atheist or an agnostic, that means getting closer to your principles, like integrity, honesty, and doing that which is truly in the best interests of others. For others, that means God. According to Pew Forum in 2014, 92% of the U.S. population believes in God. Diversity of belief, including God-centered sense of community, is included for all without getting into differences of belief, is helping each other to accomplish for the common good that which they value the most. Part 5. Relevance to religion. The chart below shows God as the ultimate goal of life for those who claim to serve Him. The base of the pyramid shows the primary values. We have seen the primary values are related to our feelings as innate psychological needs. The middle shows an open space around religion in this sense. Religion may define code in line or out of line with innate psychological needs. Here is the mind part again. A norm inside the natural boundaries of the pyramid is good code. A norm outside the natural boundaries of the pyramid is bad code. Going back to Hospital A, mandating to not respond to Code 1 if a patient is over 90 is bad code. Staff would be going against the primary value of doing that which is truly in the best interests of others. The innate psychological need of relatedness with a patient over age 90 would be thwarted. Staff would know they were off target as human beings. Man has free will. Not everyone need follow bad code. Back to religion. Could a loving God who created us with free will ask us to force another to join our religion? What kind of code causes terrorism? We all think we have the ultimate answer in that which we value the most. The truth is, no two people ever have identical beliefs. I think it is the code itself that's causing confusion and problems, not the other way around, God causing the problems. The religious lie is doing evil in the name of good. Bad code goes against fulfilling innate psychological needs. No religion has authority to go against innate psychological needs put into us by our Creator, defined as going against the primary values. Any claiming to be acting according to a religion under God, purposely hurting or harming others, would be self-evidently misaligned. An identity experience is an experience that is elevated by a person as typical of what it means to be part of a group. When bad code becomes an identity experience, that is a problem. The shocking point is that every person who behaves against innate psychological needs gives a bad name to that which they value the most, be it God, religion, government, work practice, or ethical principle. And that includes all of us. Euclid's postulate can help us here. Things which are equal to the same thing are also equal to one another. When a person hurts or harms another, that which they value the most is put down. That which they value the most, God, for example, in the religious lie, is not equal to bad code. Everyone innately knows this truth. Only when a person exhibits good code is a person like that which they value the most. Back at Quincy College, Brother Cleet taught no formal courses. He just lived his life with good code. He was famously loved in the business office by all who knew him. Unfortunately, if a Brother Cleet is not around, we can all be swept up by bad code. We can all be terrorists. We don't become a terrorist until bad code, hurting or harming others, gets adopted as an identity experience. Every person who adopts bad code as an identity experience, hurting or harming others, needs forgiveness and mercy. We had a system for justice back at Quincy College. It consisted of a student welfare board of about 7, faculty chaired by the dean of students, and a student representative. Each had an equal vote. The student facing discipline would choose one student representative from among 4 available. I couldn't understand why students in trouble almost always chose me as their student representative. I thought it was luck of a good outcome early on. I would tell the student that I could not get them more than they deserved, but I would fight to make sure they wouldn't get worse than they deserved. But I told them they had to tell me the truth. Then I would share their story with the welfare board, along with my recommendation and reasoning. The welfare board almost always followed my recommendation. It just happened that way. Back then, bad code could result in expulsion. And for men, my biggest constituency, expulsion meant almost certain draft during the Vietnam War. Having mercy and forgiveness was a blessing. The exception proves the point. One student had violated a rule calling for expulsion. The welfare board enforced the rule, but the college president gave the student a pardon. We formed a charismatic cross small group out of the welfare board. We suffered for the other who hurt or harmed us, and we still love the other, doing that which is truly in their best interests. Then we drew the other to us, and we had joy. In my last year at Quincy, I was asked to carry an envelope to announce the homecoming queen. As I walked across the dance floor, the assembly gave out catcalls and cheers, calling my nickname, Toad. Later that evening, a friend came up to me shaking his head and said, "I don't believe it." "What?" I asked. He said, "You got more applause than the queen." We both laughed. Later that night in bed, in the quiet of my room, before I went to sleep, I reflected. I had wanted to understand leaders. Now I realized I was one. That good code and the Student Welfare Board had become an identity experience for me. Kahneman, a Pulitzer Prize winner, says we are prone to making bad decisions, but on matters of importance we can think slow, not fast. Code is like that. We have to think slow about code. Everyone has to say the same thing about religious code. Everyone has to be united. Our mind says we have to keep our diversity, but everyone has to eliminate bad code and build sense of community. Only then can we truly live as children of God. Our heart informs us that if we are united, there is nothing we cannot accomplish, and all of your friends can benefit. In summary, forming a faith smart group among friends brings peace by example. Helping another accomplish that which they value the most is extreme value. Using language of that which you value the most levels the playing field for all friends, agnostic, atheist, and believers of all faiths. A movement by baptized Catholics brings faith smart groups to you. Research shows people coming back to church through small groups. Yet faith smart groups are open to all. Start your own faith smart group, which usually meets 2 hours once a month, but not in the summer. To get your small group kit, go to loquate.tv. That's LOQUATE.tv.